Let's go.
What up, everybody? It's Sports Dad, and you know what time it is. It is Thursday, and it is 7 p.m., and we are on time, and we are rocking and rolling, and we are ready to get it in. What's cracking with you? Those of you that are in the chat right now, talk to me. Let me know that you're here. Shoot me a quick message so I can acknowledge you. Just keep the chat lit or whatnot. Just let me know that you're in the building, and then we'll keep it moving. But first of all, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in with us today. And boy, we got a wonderful show lined up for you. I already mentioned it, my special guest, but we're going to talk a little bit about that, talk a little bit more about that. But, I'm just happy to be here almost at the end of another week. Friday Eve is what I like to call it. Don't steal my joy. Friday Eve. And we're rocking and rolling. Shout out to my guy, Bill Roos, for sure, for making this happen with this particular guest that I'm going to bring on the show in just a few fleeting moments. But of course, though, if you are new to the channel, make sure that you go to the actual YouTube page and subscribe to the channel. Okay, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. And also, too, it may not be for you. This information may not be for you. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that we all know someone. All right, we all know someone that has an athlete that's going through this process, or that's inspiring to play at the next level, whether it be high school, whether it be college or whatnot. This information is excellent. We actually are bringing on people that went through the process, that played at the high levels and things like that. I'm talking about Division I colleges, D2 colleges, pros, all that good stuff, for mainly basketball and football. Maybe we'll branch out into other things. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to get a good grip on basketball and football right now. So, but once again, if you are in the chat, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Another thing that I wanted to mention, So, of course, keep in mind that I am working for you. Let me say that again. I am working for you. All right. I'm working for the audience, everybody that's tuned in, everybody that's finding this information valuable. I am working for you because, I have a passion for it. I had kids of my own, and I went through the process, and I had feelings of uncertainty, and things like that. So I don't want you feeling like that. And so at the end of the day, you can find this information helpful on my particular YouTube platform. So, and of course, I've been, really going out of the way, and I've been getting some referrals, but I'm really going out of the way to try to interview people. And I'm a man of faith. And so I think this is, I'm a good-hearted person. I try to be, at least. And this has been placed on my heart. So at the end of the day, what I really want to do, is I want to put myself in a position to be able to compensate these people somewhat for their time. I can't, probably can't really give them what they're worth, but at least I want to be able to put something in their pockets for taking time out of their schedule. I mean, you gotta understand, these people are coming on and spending 45 minutes to an hour with us that they could be spending at home, and we all know how important relaxation time is. And I'll just speak for myself. I have to have certain time. So, but these guys are sacrificing their time to come onto this particular platform and discuss important topics, the recruiting process, and drop major gems so that we can all walk away successful and empowered. So I really want to be able to put myself in a position, to be able to, gift these guys and give them a little something just for their time, because at the end of the day, nothing's for free. But I also understand too that these are really good-hearted people that we're actually bringing on, and they're not actually charging me a dime to do this. and which is huge. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to at least, just give them a gift or something. So with that being said, as you can see, I got the little ticker going at the bottom. If you want to donate to my particular platform, to the YouTube platform, and if you want to, be, I'm trying to not to sound churchy, but if you want to be a blessing, because that's basically what it is. Make sure that you could send a Cash App, just as simple as that. Send a Cash App to the scrolling address below, Sports Dad CEPH. You can find me there on Cash App. And by you doing this puts us in the position to be able to keep the quality interviews going. Okay. I just don't want to bring on, I just don't want to bring on anybody. Okay. If you haven't seen the pattern in the people that I've been bringing on, these are really powered people, you know what I mean? That's making moves. Okay. So, and that have been there, and they got wonderful, wonderful information to share. So at the end of the day, so this would put us in a position to be able to hit that road and hit it running. And so I can go after these guys, at even a higher level or whatnot, and be able to, just give them a little something. So once again, you could definitely donate to that particular address below. All right, enough of that. So, crazy week. It's been a crazy week. Listen, high school football is back. Let's just talk about that. High school football is back, and I can't tell you, man. Like, I don't know how I would have been able to. I don't know how I would have been able to survive without having high school football. I mean, I'm so used to it. I'm so used to seeing my kids play. And those of you that are parents, you know how therapeutic that is. Come on now. It's not about, living your life vicariously through your kids, which some of us do. Okay. I don't do that. At least I try not to, but it's just really therapeutic from a parent perspective, just to sit there and watch your kid go through the process and progress and have, a level of success is just an awesome feeling. I talk to parents all the time, and we could talk all night, man. And so I'm just excited about that. And I'm ready to get it rock and rolling. So I see that we got some people in the chat. Once again, if you are in the chat, don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to put a comment out there. In fact, why don't you just go ahead and put a comment out there right now to let me know you in the building. Okay. In the meantime, I'm getting ready to bring on my guy, and his name is Ryan VanDyke. Okay, and the name sound familiar? Probably, of course, you know who he is. He played for MSU, and then he also played for a few NFL teams as well, man, and a little bit of arena football as well. So, but this guy is, I think you're gonna find this. You're definitely gonna find this interview quite interesting. I talked to him on the phone, and he had a wonderful energy. And so without further ado, guys, I'm just going to bring him on right now. Let's go ahead and just welcome this guy. Show him some love. Send him some love in the chat. Ryan, what's up, man? Can you hear me good, bro?
What is up, Cephas? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you once again taking time out of your schedule, man, to be with us and to share some information with us. And boy, man, we got some questions for you, everything, man. And hopefully we don't have any shy people in the chat. Shout out to my guy, Bill Bruce, for making it happen. He he came onto the platform, and he saw what I was doing, man. And he immediately started lining it up, man. Like, Cephas, man, you got to have this person on. You got to have this guy on. So I really appreciate that. So let's get into it. So you played at MSU. You also played a little bit on the NFL level as well, and you played some arena football, right?
Right.
And so and from our conversation on the phone, you also went out for a few coaching jobs or whatnot at the high school level, and you told me about how challenging that was, because they want you to work in the school. So you have,
Right.
you haven't really been had a lot of luck there because you don't work in the school. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I went to school. I didn't really know what I wanted to go to school for. I got into the communications program at Michigan State. I really liked my
Yeah.
professors and the dean of the college. So I just stuck with it. But as far as having a plan for what I was going to do afterwards, I didn't know. And in my life, I've never really had the opportunity to stop what I'm doing and go back and get my teaching certificate. It's always been work, work, work after football. And,
Right.
that's not to say right now and the way it happened has not been a total blessing. Because I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at and working with the people that I get to work with every single day if all those things didn't happen. So it just worked, and like you were talking about passion earlier, like I heard in your intro, I could do that. I could do this for free.
Right. Right. Did you freeze up on me? Yep. I think you're having some technical challenges there. Because you're going in and out. Yep. Yeah. You're chopping up on me, right? You're chopping up on me. If you want to try logging in and try logging back in, that would be awesome. We'll bring you back on. But yeah, let's make sure that your connection and everything is great and good because we want all of this, man. We want everything that you got. So why don't you try logging back on and coming back? So just bear with us for a moment. But in the meantime, if you're new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe. Go to my YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. And and let's make it happen that way. Share the information with people that are going through the same experience or whatnot. We all have family members or whatnot that can benefit from this information. So as you can see, we're getting ready to get into it. I'm telling you, we about to get into it. And I asked him a question, and he didn't answer it yet. But in our phone conversation, he was telling me like, hey, it was challenging because some of these schools, they want you to work in the school, and it's possible. I feel like it's very possible for them to miss out on good candidates because of that. So I got you back. So what were you saying there, Ryan?
Where'd I lose you? Sorry about that.
Yeah, only thing I heard you say is that you could actually you heard my my intro and you saying you could do this for free.
Yeah, I was talking about passion and
yeah,
choosing something that you love to do, but also realizing that you're choosing the struggle, because you're going to struggle with whatever you choose to do. It's just that if you love it enough
right.
and you give it enough attention and, the people that you're with and a lot of the things that I learned playing quarterback have helped me in my life. So it's very important that it's taught the right way because it impacts a lot of people. It's an impactful position.
So let's talk a little bit about that. You said you play quarterback. What made you okay? Because I really want to talk to a lot of the quarterbacks that is out there because we have a lot of inspiring young quarterbacks, guys that want to be quarterbacks, and they're not necessarily fit for the position and things like that. So what made you want to be a quarterback?
That's a great question, to be honest with you. I wanted to have the ball. I wanted to have the ball every play. I wanted the responsibility of doing things the right way and caring about my teammates and my coaches. And like, I really looked at it as a community. I was very fortunate. I played for a great high school football coach in Rich Halko at Marshall High School. And
okay.
His mantra was, polish it and pass it on. And I wanted to, with my group of teammates, leave a legacy. And we did. And hopefully, the generations that are coming up and, that have had a crack at it, they've given it everything that they had too, because that's what it took. Can you hear me? Am I okay? Or am I breaking up?
Yeah. Well, you were doing good, but you were also, but just you froze just for a moment there. So But yeah, man, I don't know. Listen, I know. I don't know what you can do, but I could tell this. I can tell that this is going to be an excellent interview. I don't know if you can reposition yourself, get closer to your router, because I know that helps too.
Let me do this.
Or whatever.
Can I-
But yeah, yep, that would be dope. Yep. So as he's getting himself together, listen, everybody, listen to me. Right now, I see we got like about maybe 10 or 11 people in the chat. Okay, so a couple things, guys. I am almost at 300 subscribers. Do you understand that? I'm almost at 300 subscribers, and I'm excited about that. I really am excited about that. I'm almost at 300 subscribers, and I need your help. I need your help. So if even in I'm assuming that everybody that's in the chat, you definitely subscribe to my channel, but if you haven't, no worries. Go and subscribe. That definitely helps me. That definitely shows YouTube that I mean business and that I'm being consistent. So show some love to me and help me get up there. It will be awesome if I can get to 300 subscribers by the end of this live. I believe we can do it. We can do it together. But we're talking about the recruiting process, and I got Ryan on, and Ryan VanDyke played for Michigan State University, and also a former NFL player as well. And he is sharing some information with them. I asked him what made him want to be a quarterback, because we have a lot of inspiring quarterbacks that want to be that really want it, right? And I know this for sure. My son, Myron, originally he wanted to be quarterback. It wasn't I wanted him to be quarterback, but he wanted to be a quarterback initially, but it didn't work out that way for him in high school, and sometimes, I kind of feel sorry for the quarterbacks, because you got to be really special to play that position. You got to be super smart. You got to be super smart, and you got to be able to, make good decisions, and you got to be able to, think on the fly and in the heat of moments, and you are the leader of the team. So the team is looking up to you in a sense. So, but it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And then a lot of times too, a lot of quarterbacks don't get their fair shake of things because, I remember, I'll just speak from my particular experience with my son. Myron, he came in, he was a quarterback at the youth level, and it's easy to be a quarterback at the youth level, right? So, but then he got to high school, played JV as a freshman, and he played at the quarterback level, but then went to varsity and whatnot, where they already had a good quarterback. Ryan, I'm just giving my little spiel about my experience with my son, because he wanted to be a quarterback too. But I'll finish that conversation after you go ahead with yours. You were saying that you wanted the ball.
Yeah, I wanted the responsibility each and every play, where I'd be the leader, and I got to impact my teammates and made sure we did things correctly. My dad was my coach growing up, so my dad and my grandpa were very, very detail oriented people, and I'm talking like dusting. Like I'm dusting, and they would come over with a Kleenex, and they would go like this, and it'd be like, "Oh, it's still dust there, Ryan. Get back to it," And like he was like that as a football coach. So, we didn't have a professional playbook when we were in Little League. He was an offensive lineman in high school who cared a lot about football, and he just taught us all the other things that are just beautiful about the game.
Right.
And like, I'm very fortunate to, do what I do for a living. Like, I live my dream every single day. So it's been great.
Yeah. So how did you get recruited? First of all, how tall are you?
6'5".
6'5". Wow. 6'5".
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Were you that tall in high school?
No, I wasn't. Actually, I was 5'7" in 7th grade. By the end of my freshman year, I was 6'5". So
wow.
I don't know if my parents put something in the food, or I prayed a lot, I stretched a lot. But I shot up pretty quick, and I was fortunate enough to be coordinated while I was growing, so I still got to excel in sports.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Happened so quick.
So
too,
how did the yeah, absolutely. How did the recruiting process? How did it start for you, man? How did it all start?
I remember watching WWMT Channel 3, and it was before we went to school. One day. I think I was a freshman in high school. I just had a really good football game on JV, and there was Western Michigan highlights on the TV, and they showed this quarterback dropping back and throwing these flare passes, And my mom said to me, she said, "You know what?" She's like, "You think you can play at that level?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know I can." She's like, "I don't know if you can." And I don't know what it was that stuck with me. From that moment on, I wanted to be great. My grandpa was very influential in my life. And it was all about, when you begin to do something, you finish the job, you do a great job. And football just happened to be it for me. It could have been basketball. But something about football was a little bit different, the locker room and God, just all the struggles and challenges, on and off the field, working out, making sure everybody's there, and really taking the onus upon myself not to necessarily worry about being popular, but just respecting the game in a way where people would follow me.
Nice.
Recruiting.
Okay. Yeah.
Recruiting started after my sophomore year. I had a decent sophomore season. I was the starting quarterback on varsity. I had also played varsity basketball as a freshman. So kind of people knew, that I was a good athlete, whatever. But it really took off after that sophomore season because they saw how tall I was. I could move, obviously could throw. I was part of a good program, which definitely helps. And
we talked about that. We talked about that in my last live about being in a good program. So that's super important. I'm glad you brought that up. Keep going. Go ahead.
So it was just letters, at that point, a lot of them. It started regional and then it, branched off. I'm getting stuff from Miami and Stanford, Nebraska. And it's like, wow, there's a laundry, crate full of stuff. And then I was able to put enough good plays together to send out a highlight film. Got a lot of, I think I was the very first quarterback that put music to the highlight video. And I had AC/DC on there. I had Fred Bear. I had some real kick-ass stuff, and it was cool, So all of a sudden, coaches started coming into school. There was one upperclassman above me who was a Big Ten recruit. That helps too.
Right.
If you're part of a program and you got coaches coming in and out, you're going to get noticed, whether you might be the backup, but you're going to be the starter next year, so keep that in mind. Right. But then I started to visit schools like Notre Dame. I was a big Irish fan growing up. That's where I wanted to go. Went to Michigan. Michigan State was kind of in flux because, Perlis was on his way out, and I didn't know Nick Saban when he got hired. But I loved his staff. And those guys have went on to have illustrious coaching careers, even the graduate assistants that were part of that staff. So, down the road, I'm thinking, man, I learned the right way, But that was kind of, Coach Tiller would call, Coach Spurrier would call, and Coach Cameron, Cam Cameron from Indiana came and visited a bunch. Lloyd Carr came to my house. Coach Saban came to my house. And it was nerve-wracking, man, trying to figure out what's that next step of life. Where's it going to be at? Right.
Wow. So that's a lot. That was a lot that was going on for you, especially from you being a sophomore and things like that, man. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that I mean, obviously you were a great athlete as well, but do you think that a lot of that had to do with your height as well?
Of course, it doesn't hurt. I mean, you got mammoth people in front of you. And I'm talking like it took me years after I got done playing football.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I'm used to being like middle of the pack, with the guys that I hang around. I'm 6'7", 6'8".
Right.
It's different though. I think it's a different type of game as the game's evolved. So, you're looking at your last two number one draft picks, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. I mean, they're both sub 6 foot. And I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks that are under 6 foot that understand how to play the game the right way. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, and the list goes on and on. But yeah, height is definitely an attention getter.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of guys, well, first of all, you said a lot within there, and I want the listeners to know. If you're new to the channel, once again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. Share this information, and also too, if you got questions, all you have to do is just add it in the chat, and we'll definitely get your question answered and acknowledged. But you said something that was key. We talked about it on my last live, Ryan. We talked about how important it is to make sure that you are in the right program, how to make sure that you're choosing the right school and things like that. And and so and we talk, I chalked it up to let everybody know, hey, like you have to make sure that you're doing your research, right? You got to make sure that you're doing the research. Do your research, because if you don't do your research, then you end up, you may not end up in a good situation like me and a few guys of the other guys were sharing. But I feel like a lot of quarterbacks right now. A lot of guys too, like, it's a challenging situation. Like, for instance, we had, my sons went to, Chippewa Valley High School, and we had Tommy Schuster, who was an excellent quarterback. Are you still there, Ryan? Okay, like I lost you again. Dang it. So, I mean, but we had Tommy Schuster, and Tommy, grades A1. Dude was a freaking powerhouse when it came down to academically and athletically. He was probably, to me, in my eyes, he was literally probably like the top quarterback in Michigan, playing in the top, one of the arguably the most competitive division, the MAC Red, and it was, and he had a lot of success as a quarterback, but it was really tough for him to get noticed, and to actually get an offer from a Division I college, and things like that. Now he did get one, but I'm just saying though, like it was really tough. Like he was in his senior year and he had everything that was going for him. He was like, Tommy, I put him at like maybe 6'1", probably, I don't know if he grew anymore, but probably 6'1", 6'2", but the dude was amazing. But guys like him, I don't understand how, they get overlooked. And that really bothered me. Hopefully we can get Ryan back too, guys. Hopefully we can get him back. It looks like he's logging off and he's logging back on. But, I don't like it, not one bit, when guys like that, they got the whole entire package, but, it seems like it's, you're pulling teeth to get college coaches to notice this guy. And so, so that was, and I know probably a lot of you are in that same position. Probably in that same position and things like that. And so it's really not cool. Hold on one second. Yeah, he's experiencing some technical difficulties, and hopefully he can get it together. He's back. So we're gonna keep working with that. We're gonna keep working with this.
All right.
So
but I was sharing.
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, my bad.
But I was just sharing, like, I don't know. Yeah, but I was just sharing, like, we had Tommy Schuster, who was an excellent quarterback. and had the whole entire package. But it was a struggle for him to get noticed by a Division I college. And that I didn't like that, not one bit. You know what I mean? And so but I know it's probably a lot of QBs in that same position. Yeah. So I don't know. You're going in and out. You're going in and out. You get stuck again.
Yeah.
Yep. You good? Nope. Still not good. Dang it. Okay. Well, that's good, because if that's happening, then maybe we'll have him on at a different time. But listen, if you still got questions, let's ask the questions, because I'm going through my experience and I'm just telling a few things, but I know it's a lot of quarterbacks out there that want to play and that can play, at the next level, but you don't, feel like you feel like you're undersized. You're not 6'5" and things like that. So how do you get through that, right? How do you get through that? And so, so it's just it's one of those instances where you just got to be special. But everybody can't be a quarterback. Everybody can't be a quarterback. And that's what, my son had to learn. He came in and, they were already solidified with Tommy. So, of course he would have had to wait until Tommy left, because Tommy was just that good. But at the same time too, I felt like he would have, I really felt like he would have really been probably a really good quarterback, probably, because, he was putting in a lot of work at it, and I know what he was capable of doing. And so, but not every team want that style of play, because he was a mobile quarterback, had an arm, and but he just needed more reps at that position, and actually throwing the ball. So he needed to grow a little bit mentally, and but that can easily be fixed. But sometimes you don't really get a good opportunity, especially like in a 7-on-7 situation. I don't know why coaches do this. I don't know if somebody can explain it to me. Maybe you're in the chat, maybe somebody can explain it to me, but I don't know why coaches do this. I don't know why they utilize 7-on-7 to make a determination if a guy is suitable to be quarterback for your program. I don't understand. I really don't understand how. I don't understand it, because it's not a real football situation. So what happens in a real football situation? You're gonna have people rushing in trying to tackle you and things like that. It's not a real football situation. So how can you make a decision off of 7-on-7? I just don't get it. And so, and just like too, I made a comment on my Twitter the other day. I said, I don't, the camps are great to work on your craft and things like that, but I do not understand how they're making decisions, off of camp numbers, off of the numbers at a camp, without any pads, without any real football situations. And so it's different. So, so you got guys that are getting offered and things like that off of the camp, but not really making a lot of noise in the season, And so I just have a hard time understanding that. I really do. And I get it. They want the measurables and, and things like that. And personally, I just think it's a way to just narrow down your pick, because, there's a lot of talent that's out there too, but I'm just saying. So it really matters. It really matters what you do on the field, to me. And I really hope that we shift towards that. Curtis Blackwell, he chimed onto my Twitter, great guy, sound mind somebody, but he said, hey, I go off of I go off of video of what they're doing on the film. And that's exactly right. And that's what you should do. It's about what happens when you put the pads on. How are you performing? How are you moving? When you put those pads on, you got guys coming at you trying to tear your head off. What you gonna do then, right? And that's, to me, that's what matters. Shout out to Bill Roos. who set up this interview for me. I really appreciate that. And like I said, maybe we'll get him back on at a different time and things like that. And under better circumstances. So, but I still want to talk to you guys. I still want to talk about the recruiting process. Listen, if you in the chat and you new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, too, I did make a little announcement earlier that when I do bring on guests, guys, I want to be able to, pay them a little bit for their time. That's just the type of guy I am. I want to be able to give them something. And that's what this platform is for. I'm working for you guys, and I'm constantly working and seeing who I can bring on that could come on and add some really cool value, and you can walk away empowered. And so if you would like, please, it would help us out a lot if you would donate to the Cash App below. That's on the ticker, and we can get things going that way. But in the meantime, I'm also, once again, trying to hit 300 subscribers. I really appreciate all of my subscribers and my listeners. It's because of you that we're able to have the level of success that we have. We got people tuning in constantly on watching the YouTube analytics, and the watch time is looking excellent. So keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your support. So, but if you got questions, let's talk about it. If you got a situation, let's talk about it. But I really wanted to bring Ryan on to talk from a QB perspective, how his whole process went, because it's a lot of QBs out there, and it's QBs that are inspiring. I see them at the camps, and they really, they're taking it seriously and things like that. But to be a quarterback, to be a successful quarterback, listen to me. You have to, number one, not only be athletic, right? You have to be able to think. You have to be able to, you got to be the smartest guy on the field. Just in case that somebody's not in position, guess what? You got to put him in position. So you got to pretty much be the smartest guy on the field. And it's a huge responsibility, because it's a lot of guys out there that can really play, and that can really play, but they struggle with the mental aspect of being a quarterback. And so I got some great guys. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Ryan, he works for, I think he's dealing with what is it? QB University or something like that he was doing. He had it on the shirt, but you can find him on Twitter, and his Twitter handle, you can find him at Ryan VanDyke on Twitter and follow him. But he's a part of a QB organization that specializes in working with quarterbacks. Let's see if we can get him back. I think he came back. We're gonna try him again. Let's go, Ryan. Let's go, man.
Hey,
what's up, man?
I will never stop trying. I got to make it up to you, man. I got to come on and do this again. Jeez, AT&T.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You do.
AT&T. So what's up?
Yeah, man. So listen, help these guys out. Tell us what you see, mistakes that you see, from quarterbacks, high school quarterbacks. What mistakes do you see, and how can they fix them? What information can you give them that can help these guys, Ryan?
Manage the game. Like, look, if you drop back and you can show me that you can throw a fade route, 10 times, like, okay, that's great. But I want to know why you threw the fade route. As a quarterback, I want to know the why in all your decision making. So if I see you launching, post routes into double coverage, and you just happen to have an excellent receiver who can bail you out, that's not impressive to me. I want to see a variety in their offense. We're kind of done with the days of the wing tee and the pro sets and everything. If they operate out of a lot of different personnels, multiple formations, motions, shifts, like that takes a lot of, upstairs to understand how to do that stuff and why you're doing it. Which tells me that quarterback, has a good head on his shoulders. But more than anything, I just want to see him manage the game. If you come out of a boot pass and it's 3rd and 2, and you have somebody in the flat wide open, but you're throwing the over route at 10 yards, like, that doesn't appeal to me. Because as you get older and as you get deeper in the playoffs, those things are gonna come out. So I like to see the game played the right way. I like to see full games so I can understand the context of why things are happening. But I just think a lot of quarterbacks, they're trying to be flashy and dashy and what's up and make the throw rather than just manage the game.
Right. I was just actually talking about that, how you have it's the mental aspect of a quarterback. It's really deep, especially when you're playing in front of 20,000 people, crowd going crazy, depending upon what situation you're in. I know you experienced that. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the thing that, if there's two qualities that I look for in a quarterback to manage that type of atmosphere and situation and pressure, they need to be cool. Okay. And I don't mean cool under pressure. I mean, they need to be a cool person. They need to be interested in their teammates and, they champion the whole team atmosphere and all that. At that point, okay, when people know how much you care, then they care how much you know. Then the command part comes in. And it's like, okay, I don't care if there's 20,000 people here, if there's 20, or there's 200,000 people. This is what we're going to do. And it really just comes down to managing the situation. If you can do that and you can take the emotion out of everything, or the pageantry and the pressure, and just focus on one play at a time, then you got a chance. No matter how good you are. I've seen great quarterback. I mean, we all have, teams blowing picks on a number 2 draft pick, and the guy just gets there and can't handle it. Well, that's because of this, and the game's so much more cerebral now than what it used to be. There's multiple skill players out there. It's much more about matchups than just saying, oh yeah, this is what we do and we're going to do it. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah. And that's good information that you're dropping, Ryan. And because of the situation with the technical issue, just can you go ahead and tell people how they could get in contact with you if they want to put some work in and become a better quarterback?
No, thanks for asking. So you can get a hold of me via Twitter, Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I don't have a website. We have a Quarterback University website. But to get a hold of me personally, that's how you would reach out to me, is just through the various social media networks. And then I'll get back to you. I'm pretty responsive with that. And, quarterbacks of all ages and all talent levels. I mean, I tell them if I don't think they're going to be a quarterback too. So just very honest and
excellent.
Transparent with.
You're honest with them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it wouldn't be any other way.
Right. Some people take offense to that, though. Some parents even take offense to that.
Yeah.
Take offense to the fact that, you're telling my kid that, but hey, you got to set realistic expectations. And I tell my kids in a heartbeat, and that's one thing about me. I'm not one of those parents that's disconnected from, that's disconnected from the sports world. Listen, I played basketball. Basketball was my sport. I knew about football, but I didn't really get into football until my sons got into football. But once they got into it, I learned the game so that I can actually, coach them up to a certain point and then release them. But, I was able to do that. And to me, basketball and football, they go hand in hand, to be honest. There's some things that you could do in basketball that can translate in, football. So it really went hand in hand. But I tell my kids, I told them all the time, listen, if they were lacking, if they didn't have it, I tell them, if they're being soft, I tell them. And if they wasn't cutting it, because originally my son, Myron wanted to be a QB. And my other son, he wanted to. He was originally being a running back. Actually, yeah, he was originally being a running back. And so, but I told Miles, I said, running back is not your thing, man. I said, you're too fast. You need to be, you need to be a receiver, And so, and to be honest, like, he could have been one of the top receivers in the MAC Red, but he fell in love with defense, and he understood that, he could probably get a better chance of going the defensive route or whatnot. But he just fell in love with the defense, and so with the defensive position, he went there. But you cannot be too. There's no such thing as hurting your kids' feelings and things like that. You have to be realistic, or you're setting your child up for failure.
Yeah, I think, I heard this one time. Expectations are reservations for resentment. I mean, if you got big expectations of what you think this coach should do, and those expectations don't work out just like you want it, because we all have high expectations. But those are the tough situations when you have a dad or parents who want it more than the kid. Those are the tough ones. But if I see a kid that, has a short memory, maybe a baseball player. Baseball players understand percentages. And just because you swing and miss on one pitch doesn't mean you're going to swing and pitch on the next. You got to have the same thought process. But yeah, I like a kid who's got a short memory. They play each play just the way it needs to be, and it goes away. They don't get too high. They don't get too low, analytical. And if you're focused on all those things, you're not going to put pressure on yourself, because you're going to be so damn busy trying to find out the answers for everything that you're looking for.
Right.
It takes time. Right. And I think a lot of parents are like, oh, well, yeah, I'll go see Ryan for a couple times. Yeah, you might get some good information, but do you understand who you're competing against? You're competing against the guy that was here for 40 hours. So he's got almost my brain is transplanted into his body, and your 2 hours, you think is good enough. It doesn't work like that, because everybody's doing this stuff now.
Listen, absolutely. I just want to check in with the listen. I see it's people in the comment section. Listen, just if you don't have anything to say, just say what up to me and just let me know you in here, or whatnot. And we'll acknowledge you. But if you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and share the information. But yeah, I think you said something. You said something that was really important too. Like, you have parents that want it more than the kid. So I think sometimes that's where I get. I think I get. Sometimes people get mixed feelings about me. In that respect. But the thing is that, like, if I didn't think that my kid was able, if I didn't think he was capable of playing at the next level, I wouldn't bother, But I think that you can be an advocate for your kid, but it's a thin line, and and having a realistic approach. And if you're not one of those parents that know how to judge talent, then yes, you're gonna have problems. But I want everybody to understand, and I want everybody to know who's listening to this, coaches, whoever you are, if you're in a position of power, if you're dealing with me, or you're dealing with the Harris boys, or anybody, listen, I understand talent. And I know talent. And so, because, I found myself, especially with my twins, I noticed that they wasn't getting the looks and things like that. And I'm like, man, I know these guys can go. I know they can play D1. I know they can, and they're playing in arguably the toughest conference, So I was just, I don't know.
Yeah. And like with the D1 thing, like that's pie in the sky. You gotta fit, like you said. I think you said something about quarterbacks. There's specific schools that have a profile for what they're willing to allow at a position. Like you need to be
Wow.
6'4" as a quarterback. I don't care if you're 6'3" and throw for 50,000 yards in high school. It doesn't matter. That's not who they're looking for. So it's not even
Wow.
the kids sometimes. It's the program and their standards. You know, I don't agree with that. But the standards of
Right.
what they're looking for. So, you know, I look at football as an experience, right? You want to have a great football experience. It sucks, and we all know this having played, to have a terrible football experience, right? You don't win, you don't score, people get hurt, like coaches get fired, you know, you're getting benched. Like, it's not fun. So it's really more about the experience and what you can get out of it. And hopefully it becomes a journey, but always going for, you know, the big stuff, like, is not always the best stuff. You know, those same moments, those big games and rivalries and stuff happen at lower levels. And, you know, I mean, if you want to go and you want to be, you know, a trailblazer at a school, be a 4-year starter, be in their alumni club and, you know, Hall of Fame, and, you know, your family, you move your family there and you grow up, your kids up there. Like, why is that so bad? You know? So, yeah, you know, be very careful what you wish for. I mean, going to college at a big college, and there's only one quarterback that gets to play, you know?
Right.
It's a lot. I mean, that was one of the hardest challenges of my life. And I've been through a lot of them.
Wow.
But yeah, you know, like, go where your gut tells you, where you feel good, you know, where not even the football people, but the people around, you know, what are they like? What's the culture of the place that you're trying to go? And you should have those answers before you say, hey, I want to sign on this dotted line.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Those are elements that those are key elements that you got to think about, that a lot of us don't really think about.
Hey, I mean, I didn't think about this stuff, Cephas, until I went through it, you know, and I've done a hell of a lot more wrong than I have right. But through that, I learned the right answers. So when I get a kid and that kid is texting me at 10 o'clock at night saying, hey, coach, you know, I just want to go over these new concepts my coach put in. You know, is this the right read on this? Like, if we go up against, and that right there, I'd rather have that text or that communication than have a dad send me a message. You know, so when I'm talking about a kid that really wants it, like, I really want it for them. And, you know, we get to know these kids and their teammates, you know, I mean, just as important, the guys that they bring, and, you know, just as iron sharpens iron, one man must sharpen another, you know. It's really about building a team, and that's kind of what Quarterback University is all about.
Wow. So, man, that's excellent information, and I'm glad that you're sharing it. Once again, guys,
I'm glad my cable's
Ryan
working.
VanDyke. Yeah, we got it going, man. Ryan VanDyke is in the building. You know, he's going over some excellent information, dropping some nuggets for us. And if you got questions, make sure that you drop them into the chat, and we can talk about it and whatnot, and we'll get your questions answered. Those of you that are new to the channel, make sure that you come in and make sure you subscribe to the channel, please. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers. We're almost there. So with that being said, Ryan, I do want to talk. I asked you about it in the beginning of the show, but I think it's important to talk about, because, you know, the whole coaching situation, because let's just face it, there are some great coaches out there, and there are some, you know, there are not so great. And it makes you think, like, you know, well, how did that person get into that job? You know, but, you know, you've had your experience where you went out, you know, for some jobs and whatnot, and, you know, you was told that you couldn't have it because you didn't work at the school, right?
I wasn't a teacher. I mean, I guess, you know, they wanted a teacher and a coach, which that's fine, but, the job title says head football coach. So, that's not really my purpose to get that done. Like I'm telling you, if you were to be by me on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night and watch this thing light up with all these messages, hey, Johnny threw 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter. Oh my God. They're sending me videos. All these great things are happening. That's like, I mean, who gets to do that?
Right.
And I watch all those games anyway because I'm watching them on Huddle the next day and critiquing them and getting them ready for the next week. It's about continuous improvement. Like if you just are doing the same thing, running the same plays, like you got to get better and you got to get your knowledge base has got to expand because you're going to need it at some point in time during the season.
Right. Well, you such a, I'm telling you, man, that's why, listen, this guy, it's guys like you, man, that makes me keep going, thanks, with this whole YouTube platform thing, man.
Thank you.
But also, I want to give a shout out to, another guy that, I'm going to eventually get onto the show. I've been trying to give him time. He just, just had his child or whatnot, but Andy Denreiter, I know, who he is, really good guy, he worked with a lot of quarterbacks and things like that. And he's awesome. Like, but it's guys like that, man, that helps parents, that helps coaches and things like that. But listen, Ryan VanDyke, you don't want to, I know you don't really, that's not what you're in it for, but allow me to be your mouthpiece at this particular moment, because right is right, man. And, I have an issue. And this is my platform. And if you don't like my platform, get out of here. But here's what I'm going to say. That is ridiculous. That you have people that are applying for jobs at the high school level and they're not getting these jobs because it's not the fact that they're not qualified, but it's because they don't work at the school. That is ridiculous. Do you not know what you're missing out on? You're missing out on good candidates all because they don't work at the school. That is ridiculous. I feel like throwing something. I feel like, I don't know what, that is ridiculous. So at the end of the day, I'm sending a message out there to whoever, listen, you athletic director or principal, what, I don't care. At the end of the community, listen, all teachers are not coaches. I can't I go into these middle schools and sometimes, and I'm looking at the middle school and I'm seeing these guys coaching at the middle school level, and it's ridiculous. This is why the middle school don't have good football programs. It's because the parents, they want a good opportunity. They want their kid to be in a good situation. So that's why you have a lot of kids playing PAL. You have them playing these rec leagues, which are pretty competitive. Because the rumor out there on the street, and I'm giving it to you straight, this is what my show is all about. But the rumor is that at middle school, there is not good football programs at the middle school level. And it's not good coaching. And so now, and now some parents are getting the actual chance to see, because of COVID, some youth football programs have shut down their program. So now they're forced to play in middle school. I was just in the text the other day, a guy just shot to me. He was like, this is ridiculous. So stop doing that. They don't all have to, listen, all coaches don't have to work in your school. If they're not qualified, great. But if they're qualified, you might want to think about that. That's all I got to say about that. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Hey,
all right. So at the end, yeah. Hey, listen. Thank you.
Hey, let's do this again.
For your time. Listen, you owe me some time though, because we got to get you back on.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan VanDyke.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, coach. Take care, man. Yeah, so we're gonna get him back on the show, and but at the end of the day, though, I just had to say that, man. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Let's just stop that. So who's in the chat? I want to know who is in the chat, baby. Who's in the chat? Who's in the chat? Who's in the chat? Friday Night Lights tomorrow. High school football is back. What's up? What's up? Who's in the chat? All right, let's go off on let's do this real quick. NBA Finals, right? It's happening. Who you got? Who you rolling with? Lakers? Or are you rolling with the Heat? Is it over for the Heat? Come on. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We've been at it for a little bit. Thank you for hanging in there with us with the technical issues, and we really appreciate that, and really appreciate you showing some love. Make sure you share the information, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But I really enjoyed that session. If you have topics that you want me to cover, if you have an idea of somebody that you want me to interview, let me know. I really feel like that I really feel like I'm gaining favor with this whole thing, and I really feel like we're gonna see some really awesome things if you stick with me. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you tapped in. You hit the notification bell so you'll know when we post new information. All right. So since you guys don't want to talk to me, you didn't want to let me know who was in here. Thanks for taking the time out to be on with us anyways. We appreciate you. Until next time, all right? If you want to know what it is on the inside about the recruiting, have an idea of what it's like in regards to high school recruiting, make sure you stay tapped in with me. All right? All right, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Deuces. We'll see you next Thursday at 7.